Hey, Reverend, and to the Church Without Walls community. Hi, guys. It's 10:33 in the morning, West Coast time, April 25th, 2025. And, yeah, I really got a handful on today's Church Without Wall. A gentleman comes in there and he's got fire in them and wants to prove to him that he is more righteous than everything else. Kind of reminds me of other people I'm reminded. Once in a great while, the good Reverend will come across articles like Steve Vaughn and every other idiot like there who Gavin or Gavon or whatever all his name is, Gavin Weber. Let's do his stuff. And right wing media keeps track of these nut jobs, and so does some of the independents I know because I keep track of them too sometimes. Just to see if I can get a little bit of an entertainment or just be a little pissy about some of these people. But yeah, the gentleman name of Royce in there. I usually don't go after people specifically, but that's the only time I'm going to be giving this cultist. I don't know what to call this guy. I mean, if he thinks we're a cultist, then I have to remind you, gentle folks, including the Reverend, that Christianity began as a cult. See, Christ never labeled his group Christians, not according to the texts that we have that we're able to research. And in the background, I've got the service going on right now, and everybody else talking. So if the mouth is gone, then let him go. I don't say good riddance. I just say God be with him, God bless him, God take care of him. I already got my own dog to drive me crazy enough anyway, so I don't need another online lunatic to drive me crazy. So I'm going to mute. We have all had our detractors. When we started coming up in groups like these, we all know that there's a lot of negative naysayer people who like to tear everybody else down, and we wanted to get a flavor of the groups, including the ones what we want to associate with and find the people that we are like-minded. We may have differences of opinions, but isn't every group like that? But not to the point where they're saying, well, they're trying to polarize things left and right. It makes the group very uncomfortable to be in. You'd rather be in one that's homogenous, and you'd rather be in one that's very congenial and very comfortable. I have to be reminded that some of these lunatics out there are a fact of life. That we. I'm throwing a dog on this one. Give me a second. Kind of hard to do this one handed with a dog. Get these things on. Yeah. Transfer using the cancellation of student visas. A little too late for later, but it's a good gesture anyway. No, but detractors that we encounter on groups, we're recognizing that there is polarization, that they are sides, and they'll be wanting join up one way or another, by enticement or by threats. We go by enticements because we think it's the easiest way for us to do it, but by threats, we do it by fear, or we do it by anger. Anger because we can't deal with the detractors, and they touch something in us. I am reminded of this even in the Bible when Christ was being confronted by the Roman guards and then see Judas, one of their own, betraying him. Yeah, they had no great love at this point. And yes, the cultist thinking would be absolute loyalty. I know God would like his children to be absolutely loyal, absolutely faithful, but he didn't make us robots. He made us with free will. And we are liable to change our loyalty or our opinions left and right. We're given this or cursed with it, however you want to look at it. But even that way, we are encouraged to follow Christ because he has an easier, softer way of dealing with things. But sometimes it's the hardest way because we have to combat our own nature. Now, Reverend Ed, you might attest to this. If you've seen it on the chat lines enough, and I know some of the other members of Church Without Walls have seen it, that we have people coming on there, not just with questions about their own faith or their own situations, but they're coming in there with an agenda, either by testing or by destroying or by both. Probably get a kick out of it because of their own damn ego. They're not forced. They do it by choice. They do it by choice. Now, it's one thing if they keep questioning faith or scriptures left and right on how they're supposed to be interpreted. But enforcing one's will, saying, I think I should run this group, or in the fashion of such, then we know we've got an issue, boys and girls. We got an issue, boys. We got an issue over this. And I kick back sometimes, but if I see a prayer request, I'll jump in. I'll jump in because that's what I do. If I can say prayers and hugs and do some prayers on the side and then try to get their good reverence attention, saying, hey, this person you missed, I'll do that. I got no problems. I have somebody coming online and saying that you guys are a rotten cult. How dare you say these things? You're doing nothing like the others. Well, you haven't stayed here long enough. You only stayed here a few seconds, judged it as such and not. But if you stayed here long enough, then maybe you would have understood why. But I would understand portions of it too, of why a person would still keep the animosity and the anger. Because they still want to prove, one way or another, that our particular group is narcissistic, egotistical, and they're going to try every other way. And we've seen it happen in the outside world beyond our scope. All the time, we're talking about it on a constant basis. And if we could address the concerns with Jesus, I think Jesus probably would have reminded us what happened in the Roman times. If it was recorded or not recorded in the books, did they actually have those kind of disagreements with Christ and have a deep discussion over this? Would they have bothered to put them into the books? I mean, it would have been nice to see if there was any kind of discrepancies, any disagreements with Christ and his thinking and his actions. But we have seen some of it. We've seen dramatics on this one. We've seen musicals on this one. Jesus Christ Superstar. We've seen it from the point of Judas of Iscariot, who's got issues with Christ. He likes the good works, but he can't think beyond it. He doesn't want to go beyond it. He thinks we're going to get more and more trouble with the Roman Empire, and therefore the group's going to be in trouble. Why is Jesus doing it to him? We're trying to do good to the world compared to what everything else is. But now, did he truly want the gold pieces, the silver and gold for the Pharisees? 30 pieces of silver? Was that important to him? I have limited material regarding what the hell he thought and what he felt, what he assumed. And it's that presumption that I see every once in a while coming on in the chat lines, even with our fellow chatter that came online and wanted to be just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, going after people because she feels like she can. And I blocked the guy because I didn't want to deal with him. I do the same thing with social media. If I don't like what you're saying and I disagree with it, I'll say it. But if you're still going to be doing the nasty berating, talk to the hand. My worth is more than your attitude. I'm not sacrificing it to you. That may be selfish and self-centered and narcissistic and egotistical. Do you think I'm a cult member? I'm going to be following a certain reverend. I got detracting thoughts about it, and I send videos over to him all the time. He's getting tired of them. I got a feeling because he doesn't respond much to me. But that's all right. At least he's hearing what's going on. I tell him things what's going on in my life, and sometimes regarding our sessions, I talk to him about it too because it's important for me to get that information out to him to let him know that yeah, these things actually do matter. They care, and these people are going nuts at this point. I may watch the show a little bit later when I can. The chats are live, and I'll look at them from time to time. However, I'm offline. Let you guys talk among yourselves and everything else. I felt strongly and compelled enough to do this. Not just to say that I'm important. Everybody's important. We all have our levels of ego that has to be filled, right? I'm trying not to fill mine. Everybody else have their own shots. I offer prayers and support to a lot of people on the line. For a long while, I'm starting to care about people on there. Once I see a familiar name, I'm like, wait a second, I know this person's going through this and that. And there's a lot of people we deal with online. I may not remember the details, but if I know the name, I know they're having issues. If we are cult members, are we out there trying to brainwash everybody else, like we've seen other cults have done? Branch Davidians ring a bell? Jonestown, does that ring a bell? Happened in my lifetime. Jim Jones gets his own religious group, hijacks them to French Guiana, and kills them. Not to mention killing a few congresspeople along the way. Branch Davidians, the guy who claims that he's the messenger of God and goes crazy with armament and arms, takes off the federal government, several districts, and they go after him. Compound gets burned, destroyed to the ground. Doesn't matter by who or by what. Doesn't matter. It was already set and rife for it. Especially when you had a camp out happening outside the thing for days. And then all hell broke loose. Some of the survivors still talk about it from time to time. They're true to their own faith. I can't knock against that one, but against Koresh, that I got a problem with. Heaven's Gate. People worshipped a comet that was going to take their souls to the afterlife or wherever. I think about 20 or 30 of them killed themselves in a compound in Southern California. We do have nut jobs out there to gain national attention. But there are other nut jobs out there to go to different places to spew off the hate because they can. And they expect to get thumped back and yelled at and chased out because they've done their job. They're irritated. It's like dealing with a swarm of mosquitoes. They're there to suck out your blood a little bit, and they leave a nasty irritation, and they don't care. They left their mark. They left their presence on you, one way or another. That's what we're dealing with the people we're coming across on our chat lines. We can pray for them. We can yell and scream. We can pray for you guys. Christ love be with them. And they'll still try to irritate because they are mosquitoes. And the only way I'm going to be dealing with mosquitoes is by sweating the crap out of them, or by wearing DEET, or finding a way to block them all. And online, I block. I'm not making any sympathies on this one. I tell you, you're going to be pushing my buttons in this one. Talk to the hand. That being said, Maltus.